think that is the mountain we're climbing, or maybe it's beyond. Harquahala Peak. It's a county high point in Arizona in the middle of nowhere. So I don't know how this is gonna go. My car is gonna try to get a little bit closer so it's not a 13.5-mile hike, and hopefully shorten it to closer to 10. Well, the car made it a little over 2 miles, it looks like, up the road. I almost got stuck one time. I did not like it. I had to go through a wash and got stuck on the other bank, backed up, and then had to speed it up and got through and scraped the bottom of the car a little bit. But we just shaved off 2 miles each way, so this 13.5 is going to turn into 9.5. So it's like 11:20 in the morning. I got to hurry up, and then I got almost a 2-hour drive back to make the Super Bowl, or to watch it. So this is going to go straight up. This hike is going to gain like 3,500 feet. So that's a decent amount in, 4.75 miles, especially because it's flat here. So this is Harquahala Peak. It's a county high point. Someone on one of the YouTube comments on a previous video, I believe, told me about it, and I looked it up and I was like, I might as well go do it. So there's one car in the parking lot, so I'm gonna run into someone else up here somewhere. I'm assuming they started early and are probably on the way down, unlike me, who starts in the middle of the day on Super Bowl Sunday. So here we go. We're climbing up. I don't know which one it is or if it's beyond, but we will find out. So I feel like we've come at least a mile from the car, maybe a mile and a half. I don't feel like we've gone up that much, but we're starting to wind up in this major drainage to eventually, wherever. I think our summit's probably out of sight, but I'd say we've gone up at least 500 feet from the car, maybe more like 7, but not a ton, in other words. So we still have quite a bit of climbing, maybe under 3,000 feet, but it could be like 28 or 2,900 feet. Haven't run into the people up there yet, so they're still ahead of me somewhere. But perfect weather. It was 50 degrees when I started. If anything, too warm, and it'll warm up, but I'm going up, so it'll probably be in the 40s on the summit. But perfect bluebird day, not a cloud in the sky, back to typical Arizona weather. We just crossed a little red iron deposit. That was pretty cool. Little iron strike in the rock. Again, I don't know exactly, somewhere up there presumably. I don't think we can see it, but we had some switchbacks. We are well getting funneled in to this drainage now. Adventure, we're probably 2 miles from the car, so that means we got 2.75 left to the summit, but we probably have, I don't know, 2,400 feet left to gain, 23 or 2,400 feet if I had to guess. So we still have, 2/3 of our elevation gain, roughly, would be my approximation, again without looking at the map to verify all this. But it's not too bad. It's not too steep, but it's gonna be steep, I think, the last several miles. It's gonna have to be, to make up vert that we need to gain. So just cruising, still haven't run into the people, but still not halfway up. Well, we've come up this drainage, you can see the trail down there, and crossed the face of it. I thought we were gonna keep going up, but this has been us left, and we have a pretty long switchback, eventually wrapping around the corner, I'm guessing. It is gorgeous out here. The trail's great too. I thought I was gonna have to navigate. I mean, it's a little overgrown, but it is perfect. Don't have to look at the map at all. Can just walk and enjoy the fresh air and sunshine. So we've probably put in another 300 or 400 feet since I last checked in, but still, I would say definitely 2,000 to go. I just want a view of the summit to know where I'm going. Well, now we're up above this major drainage. Pretty impressive drainage. I just checked the map for the first time. It looks like we're about 2.8 miles in. So we have 2 miles, maybe slightly less than 2 miles to the summit. And we only have about 1,600 more feet to gain. So we are over halfway, or maybe about halfway vert-wise. I'm not sure how much the road, I think slightly over halfway vertical-wise, but definitely over halfway, you know, getting to 55, closer to 60% mileage-wise up. This has been gorgeous. If I lived closer, I would do this trail all the time. No one out here, well, someone up above me somewhere. But yeah, this is great. Come way, way, way down. The road's out, probably almost to where those farms are. So we've come pretty far in, and I think the summit might be up there, but still unsure. So awesome trail so far, definitely delivering. Not too steep, but not too mellow either, not too overgrown. It's honestly the perfect mix of just a good trail that you can hammer on. All right, I passed the person. Update, we got about 1.3 miles left to the summit with still 1,000 feet to gain. So similar gradient as we've had. So this is like the perfect, you know, whatever that works out to be, 750 feet a mile or something. Like, that's nice hikeable terrain. Once it gets closer to 1,000, you know, it could be getting hard to push the pace the whole time. You know, 500 or 600 is like what I would call almost joggable if it's you know, spread out and evenly graded. This is sort of right in that middle zone at 700-800 feet, where it's just like good hiking. You can't really run too much, but you feel like you're moving and you get a decent workout in. But I doubt I'll catch her, because I still got at least probably 25 minutes to the summit, then call it 20 minutes back to where I passed her. Yeah, and that was 5 minutes ago. I doubt I'm putting 55 minutes on her in like 5 miles or 6 miles, but who knows. Still don't know where we're going. It's got to be higher than that. It's got to be higher than that too, unless it is that, because it's the county high point. I don't know why I didn't just look at the map to see the direction of the summit, but it's got to be higher, or at least as high as anything you see. So I just, for some reason, I keep thinking it's up to the left. So we're gaining this saddle here, or maybe it's a little higher, and then the peak's up somewhere to the left. We probably still have 600 or 700 feet to gain, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Just went up a bunch of switchbacks. Now it's like one trail segment to the saddle, it appears. So we're doing well. Probably have 3/4 of a mile to the summit, so we'll be up there in probably 15 minutes. All right, saddle, here we come. I've gained the saddle. Woo! Not sure what any of those formations are out there. Just a lot of wilderness, and I guess eventually you could see down to I-10. But there's observatory hut, so it's summit's got to be up by those structures somewhere. So we got, you know, another 500 maybe of vert to the summit. That was a little steep right there, some of those trail segments. I feel like I slowed down a little bit. So almost there, almost to the top. There is a road that wraps around, or I mean, I see a cut, so I don't know if we're following that up. No idea. I was hoping to just go straight up, but it appears we're bending to the right. Oh, there is a road. I don't want to be on a road. Last couple hundred feet up here. Look at that road coming from that side. There's our saddle down there. We've come up, you know, maybe 300 feet from the saddle. A couple hundred more to go. Woo! Harquahala Peak. There's your USGS marker. Wow. Whoa, look at that out there. There's white clouds. If you can see that. You can actually see, I think that's the white tanks that you're seeing out there. And that might be Vulture Peak. Maybe that's, yeah, that might be Vulture Peak that you're seeing out there. But look at the, I guess that's the Bradshaws that have the snow on them. Pretty cool. You can see the dusting. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but there's mountains out there that are up at, you know, like 8,000 feet, have a decent amount of snow. You can see on the ground there's a little bit of snow. Not a ton, but there is a little bit. I figured there would be some. But there's this observatory up here. I don't know what's in that building. There's these solar panels and monster antenna. So I'm gonna get some pictures, probably run most of the way down. That took about an hour and 31 minutes, maybe an hour 30. I'm not sure the minute, and then I've been up here now for a couple minutes. About an hour and a half. That's not very fast for less than 5 miles with say 3,500 feet of vert. I think it's probably about 3,400. So Harquahala Point, or Harquahala Peak, county high point out in the middle of nowhere, but awesome trail. It's sort of like a poor man's Mount Wrightson. Slightly easier hike, you know, slightly less mileage, less elevation gain, but pretty similar terrain. It's crazy. You can see like the trail just winding its way down. This is such a great trail. So easy. I'm surprised it's so well. It's not like that overgrown. I would think with how little I mean, it's a weekend. There was one other lady out here. Granted, it's Super Bowl Sunday, but you know, if this mountain were in the superstitions, there'd be 50 people hiking it on a weekend day, at least I would say. So I think it's just the accessibility, but I mean, there was a, you know, registry at the bottom to sign in. There were a couple signs. I didn't show them to you. There were some old mining remnants, some old wooden structures that were knocked down or had, you know, succumbed to the weather over a century. And there's a bathroom at the trailhead too, which was in pretty good condition with toilet paper. So I'm very impressed for out here in the middle of nowhere that this seems to at least be managed to a certain extent by someone, by the Forest Service or something. Yeah. Oh, we made it. Harquahala Peak. Somewhere up there.